Hello and welcome back. This is the 22nd video in the Flow Certified Professional online training series. And we just spent a little bit of time talking about culture, how it's defined, and what some of the responsibilities are for the leadership of an organization. And so it doesn't matter what part of the organization you're in, you can still be a leader. And so these are the things that you need to keep in mind and remember when working with individuals, teams, products, and organizations. In this section, we're going to look a little bit about what happens when cultures collide, and it happens often. I already sort of alluded to that earlier, but we're in the triangles that we talked about with the business on the one side and the tools and technology teams on the other side, and how they don't necessarily communicate well with each other. So the leadership takeaways for this video are: when vision and culture collide, flow leads with vision. Then we're going to look a little bit about the difference between servant leaders versus traditional bosses. As I mentioned earlier, business and technology often end up colliding with each other. And so on the business side, they need to develop agile governance, agile leadership, flow governance, and flow leadership. And that's starting from the business perspective. The technology for scaling agile and the tech teams with the Scrum, Kanban, XP, and all those down at the team level and the scaling in between, those are going to create friction. Those are going to create the collisions that happen, the cultural clashes, and this is an example of the cultures colliding. Since budgets are primarily coming from the business side and revenues are primarily coming from the business side, remember the golden rule: he who has the gold rules. And so technology is often a support function to the organization. It's not necessarily the leading part of the organization. Now, there are those that will argue, oh, well, technology is moving up into the top and things like that. I'm seeing it from a different perspective, that eventually marketing may end up taking over a lot of the technology leadership in the company as we're moving forward into the future. Flow leads with vision. Okay, so you have Scrum, Kanban, XP, Scrumban, whatever you're using, Agile, hybrids, and whatnot down at the team level. You're going to have scaling Agile with Safe, Less, Scrum at Scale, Nexus, and whatever else they've got going. Safe is the largest one. I think we have some percentages on that a little bit further down in one of the later videos when we get into that. But technology is trying to create program management, okay? And if you look at cascading vision and the tools that we use in Flow, cascading the one thing, the VSPT, linking everything back, that's a much different approach than what Safe is doing, or Less, or any of those. Those are just ways to do agile program management at best. And so we use these types of tools in Flow from the vision level to actually lead. So when we're talking about we're leading with vision, we're talking about the vision that occurs at every level in the organization. And I know that many of the Agilists will be objecting to a hierarchical view, but so far that's still how organizations, even if they've been flattened, they're still in somewhat a hierarchy configuration. So Flow leadership, again, is that umbrella that helps all of these things down here at the Agile program and Agile team level to play nice with each other. I don't know if you've read Good to Great by Jim Collins, but he dedicates quite a bit of the book to helping people understand what he calls level 5 leadership. They didn't like the term servant leader, and but what they describe for a level 5 leader is exactly a servant leader. Okay? So that doesn't mean that they're weak. It actually means that they have a very strong will, but they still understand how to inspire, support, and breathe life into their teams and organization. And this is a little bit of theory Y versus theory X again. A boss, if you're having to move this big boat, the leader will be down there, and I've got a little like tie here on the bosses, and then here are your teams. The the leader is out there leading with vision and helping pull with the team. A boss, they have a different view. They're looking at the team as under them, and that they're gonna break out the whip, and the beatings will continue until morale improves. And instead of helping to lighten the load and get out in front and pull with them, they're standing on the load, making it heavier in many cases. And it comes right back down to, does your walk match your talk? If the walk and the talk don't match, you've lost your credibility, and it doesn't matter what you try to do. Your teams are going to start to work against you. And we're going to talk about that in the next video. And if you think that that's not the case, the numbers are speaking against you. So basically, from a leadership perspective, you need to be prepared for when vision and culture collide. Okay, the visions are going to collide, the cultures are going to collide. Flow gives you the tools to overcome those collisions and to help mitigate or even eliminate that friction. Flow leads with vision. Remember, it's the umbrella that sits above all these other methodologies. Flow is methodology agnostic. We don't care. It doesn't matter. We know that what we're bringing to the table will enhance and turbocharge anything and everything that you're doing. And then you can learn to become a servant leader, but you need to be able to have a self-image that allows yourself to play the role of a servant leader, but that doesn't mean that you're going to allow people to just walk all over you. Okay, you're going to be firm, but at the same time you can inspire and breathe life into your teams. If you're a boss, you're just going to be telling everybody else, I'm better than you, you do what I say, and it's just going to kill whatever it is that you're trying to do as a company. So the application of this is, how well do I communicate with other leaders? Business and technology, you both have leaders leading your organizations. How well are they communicating with each other? Do they actually understand each other? Even though they both say, I have nothing to wear, do they mean the same thing? Just like when you walk into the closet, okay? And you say, oh, I have nothing to wear. Well, for me, that means it's time to do the laundry. And so, am I the servant leader I should be? How do I measure my behavior and the impacts of my behavior? I'm not sure that people are really that enthusiastic or willing to get measured in this way. And this is why we started to do team health checks, because that's a less threatening way to help leaders understand, okay, here are the areas we need to focus on and improve in order to provide the total support that the team needs. And we'll show you how to measure that in some of the videos here at the end of the entire series.